is Rachel, and today I'm reviewing Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. So first up, this is the second book that I've read by Riley Sager. I also read Lock Every Door. I think I liked that cover better than this cover, but I liked this book better, so that's more important. I think this has a lot of elements that I really like in books. I like the dual perspective with parallel timelines. That was awesome. I also really liked the creepy house factor. Like, a haunted house book is just so much fun to read, and I just really had a blast reading this. While this may not be my favorite book that I read this year, it is probably going to be one of the ones I remember the most as a favorite because it was so much fun to read. I just had a blast reading this. It was the perfect amount of creepy and suspenseful and shocking, and I just really enjoyed it. So in explaining this book, I would say it's kind of a mix between Amityville Horror meets Ruth Ware's The Turn of the Key. So if you like either of those and you can imagine what a mashup of those would be like, I think it's this book. So in this book, we follow two dual parallel timelines. So one timeline is essentially excerpts from a book published by a man who used to live in this house. They purchased the house knowing that a murder-suicide had been committed by the prior owners. And when they move in, creepy things start happening, and they dig a little bit deeper and find that there was another alleged murder situation that occurred with the original homeowners. The man who built the home allegedly poisoned his daughter with the poisonous berries they named the mansion for. The estate's called Baneberry Hall, and again, the baneberries are supposed to be around the house and they're poisonous. So allegedly, the original owner poisoned his daughter with these berries, and then years later we find out another father has killed his daughter. So all these creepy things are occurring, and what this man has written in his book. And again, think like Amityville Horror. So we have this nonfiction account of this haunted house. Parallel to that, interjected throughout the book, we're also following the daughter of that author when she comes back to the house after her father dies and she inherits the house. So literally chapter 1, we read the opening of the dad's book. Then, like chapter 2, we read about the daughter 25 years later arriving on the property. So one thing I loved about it is that the story is paralleled. We're reading from the dad's perspective as they move in, as they start digging through the house, as they explore different rooms. And then 25 years later, we're also reading about Maggie, the daughter, as she's going through kind of the same steps that her parents did 25 years previous. So it's really fun to match up their experiences and see things that have changed over the 25 years, things that haven't changed over the 25 years, to see Maggie interacting in present day with people that the father dealt with 25 years earlier in the community. I really liked the dual timeline setup. I thought that was amazing. I think it also helped amp up the creepy factor, because as you're going along, you're getting the father's account of things getting creepier in the house. So it automatically just kind of makes you a little bit more leery of the house as Maggie is starting to explore it and to renovate it and work through all of these things. Kind of the main through thread is that Maggie herself doesn't remember any of these events happening that her father claimed to experience. So she's decided that her dad has made all of this up. Her mom won't confess to anything. Her dad didn't confess to anything, and now he's obviously passed away. So she views this chance to renovate the house and kind of experience the house, talk to the townspeople, and really try to figure out her truth, to try to figure out why she doesn't remember experiencing any of the things that her dad claimed that they experienced in the book. So throughout the whole thing, you really are going back and forth, like, did the dad make all of this up, or did this really happen to them? So I really like that too, of like never really knowing what to expect. It kind of feels like somebody has to be an unreliable narrator. Either the dad has to be unreliable or Maggie has to be unreliable, and you never really know which one it is. So it's a lot of fun. This is the most fun I've had reading a book in so long. I really enjoyed reading it, and we're actually reading this for one of my book clubs this month, so I'm super excited to talk to everybody about it. One thing I am super excited to ask people about is where they think this title came from. Why Home Before Dark? Maybe it's like an allusion to something that I just don't get, but I felt like there was no real tie into that. It wasn't like you were safe when you got into the house in the dark. It wasn't, I don't know. I don't know. Does anybody know where the title came from? Like, it's a creepy title. It's a good title, but I don't understand how it connected to the book. You know how sometimes when you're reading through a book and you're like, I get the title now. I never really had that moment where I got the title. Also, the dad's book is called House of Horrors. I wish that had been a cooler title, I'm not gonna lie. But overall, I really, really enjoyed this book. Like I said, I love the fact that we're following dual perspectives. I also loved that we have basically a book within a book. That's always a plus. You can't go wrong with like book inception, right? I think the creepy factor in this was perfect. It was thoroughly creepy, but I was still able to go to sleep at night and not be totally terrorized for the rest of my life. But it was definitely chilling and creepy. Several times when I was reading, I would hear a noise in my house and be thinking, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, it's happening. And that's good writing. That's a good book when you are so involved that it totally just sucks you in. So I really like that. I feel like I knew what was going on and I expected different things to happen, but there was always like little twists being added that made me rethink everything about the book. It kept me guessing. It kept me interested. It was, I think, very fast paced because I constantly just kept wanting to know what happened. Oftentimes I find when I have a dual perspective that there's one that I like more than the other, and when I'm reading the one I like less, I'm just kind of flipping through. But I think in this case, both of them were equally fascinating. I constantly was wanting to know what was happening through both timelines. So overall, I think this book was fantastic. It was the perfect mix of thriller and horror, and I really, really had a great time reading this. I also had like a few other things that I would criticize just a little, but they're minor things and they're kind of spoilery, so I won't say them here. But just a few little things like towards the end that I'm like. But overall, I really enjoyed all the book. I enjoyed the reveals at the end. I think it tied up really nicely. I am so excited for everybody to read this. I hope you enjoyed as much as I did, and I cannot wait for the next Riley Sager book now. So again, I've only read this one and Lock Every Door. If you have read several Riley Sager books, let me know down below which one's your favorite. Which one should I read next? I think I have Final Girls and The Last Time I Lied next, and I kind of want to jump into those. So let me know which of these is your favorite. Let me know if you're planning on reading this, and if you want to talk more about the book, definitely let me know down below. If you want to talk spoilers, maybe hit me up on Instagram so we don't spoil it for everyone, and let's talk books in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again in another video soon. Bye for now.